describe it best as, which is the third room, der dritte Raum. It is a space where you are not going to work, where you're not going for your free time to sleep, to whatever you do at home. It is a space between home and between work, where all the environment you need to work on projects, be this hardware projects, be it software projects, where you find the people to work with, come together and collaborate on projects, whatever they might be. And they don't only just come together to collaborate on, let's say, some shiny blinky things, although these have been proven to be very contagious in spreading the word. This also means that these people come together to motivate each other, to share their knowledge, first of all, to learn, and also to help others to learn and develop new abilities. Now, for hackerspaces.org, this project doesn't exist that long for now. We can pretty much say it started with 2007. So although this idea of a collaborative space existed in most of, I guess, hackers' minds all around the world, this actual project has not been started until 2007, when a person frequently described as the Johnny Appleseed of hackerspaces, that being Nick Farr, started a project called Hackers on a Plane. And these hackers flew in to Europe to take part in the Chaos Communication Camp in 2007. So this is the camp 2 years back. And it's a bunch of hackers that have never been to an event like this before, and that have never seen a hackerspace before. And Nick Farr took them on a little trip throughout hackerspaces around Germany and Austria. And as I was mentioning before, seeing these spaces, blinky things, and people motivating each other and working together is very contagious. What also happened around the time of the Chaos Communication Camp is another very important person came up with a talk and with a presentation, a paper, whereof a dictum arise that is not so easily translated to English. It would basically say, go read the Oleg. So Lest mir den Oleg is a collection of hackerspace design patterns, these including sustainability patterns, independence patterns, regularity patterns, conflict resolution patterns, as we have, well, we're dealing with communities here, these not just being like any sort of, community, but nerds, hackers, people that are probably not as socialized as they would think. Basically creative chaos patterns. And as I was mentioning, the community fact, these people going on this trip through Europe, these hackers from the States, were so inspired that a new era, a new wave of hackerspaces were founded in the States, and they spread like mushrooms, like seriously one popped up after the other. This being New York City Resistor, for instance, with a very strong community aspect, or Noisebridge, which is a very, very strong aspect towards hardware hacking. Now, what exactly made these hackerspaces pop up all of a sudden so fast? And I think it's one quote of these hackers, which is basically saying the time to start is now. As has been discussed in previous panels on hackerspaces, these including a lot of the founders of these US hackerspaces, we discussed the issues about hackerspaces, founding processes, where you would find members, how you would deal with the legal issues, all that kind of crap. And you can find all of these online in various, like the Last Hope conference videos, 24C3, 25C3. You find these videos anyway, so I'm not going to deal with that right now. What I just want to show you is what happened after this was founded. So this is basically the site. We're operating a wiki, we're operating mailing lists, an IRC channel, a Jabber server to whichever user is automatically added, so you can right away, as you join the community, can contact any person and ask them your questions, bother them with the issues you have in creating a hackerspace. So there's a community standing behind this that want to give back to the rest of the community of hackers by helping them develop their spaces. And what we've seen was a very, very strong reflection in media. We had a lot of press coverage. Thus also the site went down once shortly. Even in Japan, boing boing twice. We've seen these articles all over the world, and not only just in newspapers and online magazines, but also in blogs and in vlogs, and they've been made podcasts and everything. But where does this leave us? Press coverage, well, fair enough. What happened after this? And if we look at the timelines of when these spaces, new spaces were created, we see that a lot of hackerspaces have been founded shortly after the 25C3, for instance, in January 2009. Even more so after the Wired.com article in the end of March 2009. And then we see a huge wave of hackerspaces piling up in the early April 2009 when this Wired article got on Dig. So spreading the word is obviously the thing that we should do, that every one of us does, like every member basically of Hackerspaces.org is giving these talks, and you can see them pretty much everywhere. But yeah, whatever, this is not what we're dealing with today. My question today is rather, how does this movement affect the world? How can we have an influence on the world? Do we already have an impact on other communities, on the hacker community and the rest of the world? Politics, economics, you name it. And I think I have to show you one last number. This number says that we have 340 hackerspaces worldwide as of yesterday. And this is only just the spaces we know of. So when we started this project 2 years back, we knew of 67. Today it's 340. 199 of these spaces are being active, 41 in building process, and 93 planned. And if you look at a map, I think we have a pretty good coverage in Germany. We already have a very, very good coverage in the States. If we just imagine that 2 years back, there was not all that much running on in the States. The States had ruled out Germany by far, with 109 spaces in North America right now as compared to 32 in Germany. I'm not implying anything here. But what we also see is that there is huge parts of the map not covered. So therefore, we are trying to spread the word more and more, so that these spaces, that these places on Earth, also can share a little bit of this whole aspect of a world that's up until some point run by hackerspaces, and that they could learn from the knowledge we have and share the information they have. And therefore, we came up with 3 principles. These principles being build, unite, and multiply. I think this is pretty obvious. So building is the aspect of start it now. Go out and build a hackerspace. Find people. You can find answers to your questions on hackerspaces.org and these various mailing lists or whatever. But also you can find other people when you approach institutions like a local Linux user group, local computer clubs, that kind of thing. Then we have the aspect of unite. And what we want is that people get in touch with each other and share the projects they're working on, so that collaboratively all around the world, people can work at the same project, but also learn from the experiences they have together. And then we have the multiply aspect, which is any hackerspace can join. So spreading this whole community is a main point in sharing knowledge and learning from each other. So after all of these dry stuff, I figured I could probably maybe include some vaguely related server porn, so that people in the